Hey everyone, welcome back to another video on retro game revival. So today I've got the classic Nintendo Game Boy, the big fat old model. Now this isn't going to be a very long video. The system itself isn't broken, but I'll show you what's wrong with it. Yeah, as you can see, let me get a better light. Yeah, as you can see, it has quite a bad case of the horizontal lines. But you need a bit of a steady hand, but this is definitely fixable. And I wanted to show you guys how. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this, and I'll let you hear the sound one more time because it's awesome. Love it. So I'm going to disassemble it, and I'll show you guys how to get this to work with all the lines on the screen again. Just a quick note on the disassembly. There are 6 of these tri-wing screws. Let me see if I can get this on focus. Yeah, 6 tri-wing screws. On the back of it you need a tri-wing screwdriver. Can't really see that well, but yeah, there you go. So you need a special screwdriver to get into the Game Boy itself, and then once you've taken all the screws out from the back, so there's 2 in the battery compartment, 2 over here and 2 on the top, it opens up like a little shell, and you can get the ribbon cable. Trying to do this on camera is a bit difficult, but you just use a little bit of force, and there we go, and it comes apart. I'm gonna take off these screws. So these are actually Phillips head screws. Let me focus again. There we go. So these are Phillips head screws. You're gonna take those out. Actually, I'm lying. Don't need to take the back part of it out. So that can just stay as it is. Front half, the screen assembly inside of it, that's where we need to go. So we're going to take all the little screws out, and I'll do that, and then I'll get back to you. So with the screws out of the way and the front part removed from the shell, what we want to do is we want to hook the screen back up onto the motherboard. This is the cartridge connector board. There you go. I'm going to try and do this underneath the camera. It's a bit more difficult than I want it to be, but hold on. There we go. It's inserted, and to make sure that we're not shorting anything when we are going to be powering this on, because we need to work with it in an on-powered state, I'm going to use a bit of paper, and I'm actually going to use 2 of them. There's one here that covers the main board, and an extra one that covers that extra piece there. Move that slightly out of the way, and there we have it. So I'm going to insert batteries. I'm going to heat up my soldering iron, and I'll show you how to get working on this. So a little bit of an explanation as to what's actually going wrong. And for those that have seen the Virtual Boy that I've repaired, this is actually a similar case of what's going wrong. So the ribbon cable attached to the LCD is glued, and Nintendo did the same thing with their Virtual Boy. And what happened is, over time, the glue lost its stickiness, and the contacts from this ribbon cable don't adhere properly to the screen anymore, causing what you can see, the lines failing. So I put in batteries, and I'm going to turn this on. What you want to do is you're going to take the brightness and set it all the way to black. Now, if I take my my tweezers, You're probably able to see this. If you apply pressure along the ribbon cable, there you go, you can see lines starting to fail. Some might come back. But what you want to do in order to get this all fixed is we're going to reheat the glue part of the ribbon cable with a soldering iron, and this will result in those lines coming back. In order to get access to that, you'd need to remove this tiny little strip. Now, again, doing this on camera is a bit more difficult, but I'll try and get it out. There we go. It's coming loose from one side. Try and grab hold of it. And here we go. It's coming apart. There. And I'll put that to the side. Maybe this shows it slightly better, but yeah, there you go. As you can see, running across this, the lines are coming back and are failing again. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to reapply some heat in order to get all this back into a proper state. And I think it's warmed up by now. Yeah, it seems like it. So hopefully don't touch my speaker cable here. So you don't want this running extremely hot because you might burn the ribbon, but just applying some gentle heat across this ribbon cable will get the lines back. Now you want to work from one side to the other, so left to right or right to left, because what will happen is once the glue starts heating up again, the lines next to it will fail. So you're going to do it in a sweeping pattern, and you're going to run it probably a couple of times, but you'll see the lines getting back. So let's see if I can do this on screen for a couple of lines. Hold on, I'm trying to get a right angle at this. I'll just do one in the middle. See, touching them, that's making them appear, disappear as well. But if you keep some heat applied to it, you can kind of run them back and forth, and the lines will eventually start coming back the more it heats up. And as it cools down, it will reattach, basically. So you want to go at this, you don't want to hold the iron in one spot for too long, but you know, you want to do this in a motion. Now it will, like you can see, it will be worse before it gets any better. But if we keep at this for a little bit, just little moving patterns, there you go. It's starting to get better. It's coming back. As you can see, the left-hand side is starting to become more black. What you basically want to get at is the whole screen basically turning black again. And then you can dial down your brightness control to a level at which you can see again. And it's just a matter of patience. I'm going to do this off camera. I'm not sitting at a very good angle, so I'm almost afraid that I'm going to burn this thing. But I'm going to work at this, and I'll get back and I'll show the results. This took, I think, about 10, maybe 15 minutes of fiddling a bit. But as you can see, all the lines are back into the screen. Now, the trick is not to immediately just grab your Game Boy and start assembling it back. It needs a bit of time to cool down, because what can happen is that when the ribbon cable cools down, some of the lines might, disconnect, and you have to redo that part with your soldering iron again. So I'd leave it for a good 15 minutes and check the results. If it's still fine, then you can reassemble it and you're good to go. Don't forget to reattach your little ribbon, or your your spacer that you pulled off. And another tiny little tip is, when you're using your soldering iron, basically you want to try and avoid going over the area that was underneath that rubber strip, because the ribbon cable itself is more fragile away from the glass side of the screen. So the lower you go in this direction, the more likely it is that you will burn through it, and at that point the screen is beyond repair. Now, as I said, you can dial that back down, the brightness, and you'll have a good screen again. So I'm going to let this cool off, reassemble it, and show you how it turned out. So here it is, fully reassembled. I let it cool down for another 15 minutes, and when I turned it on, I noticed that there was a single line right around here that had failed again. So touched it up again with the soldering iron a bit, and it all seems good. So turning it on to really dark, and as you can see, no more lines. So trying out with the game, I've got Tailgater by Natsume. Focus for you. Come on, focus. There we go. Might be a bit dirty. Oh. There you go. And it's fully working. So there you have it. That's how to get rid of your lines on a Nintendo Game Boy. Now, I wanted to add to this is, I myself have only ever tried to fix the vertical lines. I know it's possible to fix horizontal lines, but the ribbon cable that's connected, I think it's to the right hand side of the screen, is very delicate. So you'd either have to use something like a hairdryer and like a prying tool maybe to gently touch up on that cable, but definitely using a soldering iron on that will wreck the cable. So yeah, if you ever come across any vertical lines, this is a sure and easy way to fix it. Horizontal lines are more difficult, but should be manageable. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll have another video soon. In the meanwhile, if there's any questions, just put them down in the comments below, and feel free to like and subscribe.